So gaslighting is actually a form of emotional abuse. And it's when one person doubts the reality of another person. So somebody's gaslighting somebody, they're doubting their reality. Whatever that's going on with the other person, they are doubting it. So they're conveying doubt, and it leaves the other person quite confused. Alright? So that's the sort of nuts and bolts of it. And gaslighting is one of the tools of a narcissist. A narcissist will use gaslighting quite often. It's probably quite often their signature tool. It's very much a tool of manipulation and emotional abuse. So doubting the reality of another person to fit the reality of the narcissist. And they're second guessing somebody else's reality. One of the first ways gaslighting is used is when someone might say, "You're too sensitive," or "You have no right to feel that way." When they do that, they are immediately assuming your reality is invalid. So it makes the person doubt their own reality, you see. And it's like saying to somebody, you must be too hot, or "You're too hot," when they're actually perfectly comfortable. When you're feeling something and somebody else comes and tells you you're feeling a different way, and they make your considerations invalid because they're judging you for it and telling you what you are, and then you start thinking maybe they're right, because they do it in a very convincing and charming manner. So they trick you into going along with them, with their story. Before you know it, you're second guessing your own decisions and your own reality. And another situation might be like, "You have no right to be angry," or "You have no right to feel like that." That's what gaslighting is, because of course you have a right. You've got just as much right as anybody to feel whatever you can want. When somebody tells you what you're feeling, that's gaslighting. So what they're doing is manipulation and abuse. The best thing for you to do in that situation is just to abort, leave, just abandon, don't even participate. Because you can't win against someone like that. They're just pig-headed, and they'll go with whatever they said, which is manipulation and abuse. So leave. The second tool the narcissist has in his bag of gaslighting bits and pieces is deflection. So what that is so you might be talking to them about something that you're feeling about right now. Like, it could be an issue you were having with your friend down the road, whatever. So you've got some issue going on, right? And the narcissist says, "Well, now that you mention that, such and such 2 years ago," and they deflect this, what you're talking about, and onto their thing. And they start telling the story about something that happened 2 years ago that your story reminded them of. And then they take over the conversation, and it's about this, whatever they're saying. And they're saying it like it's related to what you're saying, but in fact it's just their story. And it takes away your talking about. But now it's not about whatever you're talking about, it's about what he's talking about. So that's deflection, and it's actually a form of gaslighting, because it's making you and your story invalid, and it's emotional abuse. Again, you need to abort and leave. Get the fuck out of there, away from it. You say, "No, that's actually how I feel. It's not about what you were saying at all. It's about what I'm saying," and then just walk away. Don't argue with them, because they never stop. They just keep going, and you can never win against the narcissist who's gaslighting. Okay, so you have to abort and leave. If you don't want to abort and leave, then what you do is you be firm. You say, "Well, okay, what you're talking about is not what I'm talking about, but if it's important to you what you're talking about, we can talk about that later. But right now, I'm talking about this and this situation right here. So can we just talk about that, please? And then we can talk about your one later at a different time." That's what you do, you say something like that. But if they insist on their deflection, then that's when you abort. Okay? Now the third tool that the narcissist has in his bag of gaslighting tricks is that never happened. You might be telling your story of how 2 years ago your baby sister got lost walking her way from school, and her friend's mother picked her up and took her back to their place because your mother was out and she looked after her until your mother got home. But everybody was all worried about her because she wasn't home at the expected time. Can you remember that? And the person goes, no, that never happened. That didn't happen at all. That must have been a dream. And so the first reaction you have is, maybe he's right. And you start doubting yourself, you see. So that never happened. It's the third tool of the manipulation that the narcissist is bringing onto you. And it's a form of gaslighting. So those are the three different things. If you're in a relationship with a narcissist who keeps doing this sort of thing, keeps gaslighting you, you will get to the point where you feel like you need to record everything you do to prove that it was real, because they'll be inflicting doubt into you, everything you say and you've done and everything you do. So when you start to feel that need, that's when you know that your partner is like a narcissist. And it might be time to have a little talk, or it might be time to actually separate. So that's gaslighting. And when it gets to that point where I just explained, where you're paranoid and you want to write down and record everything you do just to prove that it's real for later on if you get accused of something that you did that you didn't do. See, I'm getting confused. It's such a confusing thing that it's hard to explain. It's very confusing, and that's what it's about. Gaslighting is about making the other person confused. And I don't know if that's the intention. Well, it probably is for an evil narcissist, but maybe because narcissism is a spectrum, right? And so at the lower end, when they're not just little narcissists, not big bad ones, but they grow. You see, if a little narcissist can turn into a big narcissist over time. And the other way around, if there's somebody truly amazing in their life that can bring them back to earth, that could be you. How good are you at dealing with narcissists? Because some narcissists have got a loving heart deep underneath all those layers of nastiness and manipulation and gaslighting. Gaslighting is a big one. So if you do end up recording conversations and things you do and then presenting it to the person, all that will achieve is that the person will go, how dare you? You're so petty. How dare you? What a petty thing to do. And they'll say things like that. They won't address the actual evidence that you're presenting to show them that they were wrong and you did actually do this and you did actually say this, and that they'll just deflect that again. So there's no point in presenting it to them. The only use that has is for your own sanity, so you know in your own head that yes, you did remember it correctly. That is what you said, and here's the proof for yourself. But if it gets to that point where you're doing things like that, well, you've already reached too far. Okay? So it's time for a change. It's time to leave the narcissist who gaslights everywhere he goes. Now, another thing you might do if you're emotionally connected to this person, you can't just leave them like I'm saying. So another thing you might do is write them a long email, to explain everything, and they can't interrupt you because it's an email and explains everything to mend the patches, the rifts that's going on with your partner. But no, that won't work because they don't listen. They're not going to listen to that. They're just going to read the first couple of lines and go, how petty, and deflect it. They'll deflect everything you say, everything you write, and accuse you of being petty or accuse you of being insidious or something. They will accuse you of something. Whatever that is that you've written will be something else by the time you've shown it to the person. So that doesn't work, trust me. You've either got to get somebody in to help, a counsellor, so they can see the dynamic as you talk to your partner. And if they're clever enough and astute, they will realise the person is a narcissist and they won't be confronted about it because that just makes them angry and accusational, and they'll deflect it again. So you wait till you're alone with the counsellor and listen to what she has to tell you, and she'll give you some points and some knowledge that you probably didn't know, But you know what the bottom line will be? You give it a try, I suppose. The truth, present the truth, tell them what they've been doing. You've been gaslighting me, you've been deflecting, you've been acting like a narcissist, etc. If you can do that in a gentle way without making them angry, then good on you. And if they can accept what they've done and then try not to do it in the future because they deep down they love you, then that would be the ultimate, wouldn't it? But I don't think that would happen, but it's worth a go. It's worth a go, especially with a counsellor in the background. They don't have to be there right there. Do you know what I mean? So that's my advice. That's what I'd do. But I'd probably just leave them in the end if they're stubborn, they think they're right and they're not going to listen, etc. It's time to pack your bags. If you're in such a relationship where your partner is a narcissist and he's using manipulation tactics and making you doubt yourself and your reality, and it's got to the point where I explained earlier, where you're writing things down and recording things, and you've already gone past the point where you shouldn't be there, okay? So the bottom line, pack your bags. One of the things that happens when you're being gaslighted is you start wondering whether they know what they're doing. Are they doing this on purpose? And the answer to that is not really. It's a natural thing for them. They're not like, oh, I'm going to manipulate this person and get them to do this and that. It's not like that. It's just that the fact that they have no empathy. So they don't consider any of those things. Like if they knew that you were doubting their considerations, they would think you were being petty again, you know. So it's not an evil genius plan sort of thing. It's just that the fact that, like I said, they have no empathy. So they'll think that what they're doing is quite normal. It's okay. It's like they're not doing anything wrong. They don't see that they're doing anything wrong, but they do see that they're upsetting you, but they don't care because they have no empathy. You see, it might seem like they're doing it on purpose, but they just don't care. That's the simple answer. I know it's so confusing, isn't it? But that's the nature of gaslighting. Pack your bags, get on your bike,